Today we are going to learn about the conservation of charges, or in other word, continuity equation. Okay, current continuity equation. So, means from very beginning we are studying that means charge is always conserved. Means it can neither be created nor destroyed. But in this case, two equal amount of charges of opposite nature can simultaneously be created. Means equal amount of positive and equal amount of negative charge can be simultaneously created, or they can be merged and destroyed as well. Okay, so positive charge, negative charge can be merged and neutralized, so there will be no charge. So in continuity equation, current continuity equation. Uh, we can define a J. J is what? The current density थ्रू आउट ए रीजन. किसी एक स्पेसिफिक रीजन में हमें हर जगह की अगर करंट डेंसिटी पता हो और उसका अगर सरफेस इंटीग्रल लिया जाए, क्लोज सरफेस इंटीग्रल, so that will give you current. Okay, this is fine. It's like in a cylinder, if we draw a cylinder. Okay, and we know J on every part of this surface area. Okay, if you know J on this whole surface area, then we can say that J dot ds will be equal to current. And okay, so from here current is coming out. So this is in current, this is out current. Okay, so in current, this is outward current. Now you can just see the amount of current that is means flowing outwards of this cylinder, what it signifies. ये करंट बाहर निकल रही है इसमें से, इसका मतलब क्या है? इसका मतलब चार्जेस बाहर निकल रहे होंगे. इसका मतलब अगर अंदर कोई चार्ज हम मान लें क्यू आई, if there is some internal charge inside this cylinder, then what will happen? This charge will start decreasing inside this. So अगर अंदर के लिए हम करंट निकालेंगे तो can we write this thing minus dqi by dt? It is rate of decrease of internal charge. जो भी हमें बाहर चार्जेस बाहर जो भी चार्जेस जा रही हैं वो कहाँ से जा रही हैं? वो अंदर से डिस्प्लेस हो रही हैं. कुछ भी हमने एक्स्ट्रा नहीं दिया है. वो जो भी अंदर चार्जेस थे, रीजन के अंदर जो चार्जेस थे, वही चार्जेस बाहर जा रहे हैं. तो इसका मतलब जितना बाहर गया होगा उतना ही अंदर से खाली हुआ होगा. So that's why I'm writing it is rate of decrease of internal charge. Okay, so here we can just write this in a single equation, that J dot ds is equal to minus d by dt. Now we can write qi in terms of rho v, charge density, volume charge density. So qi could be written as rho v dv. Now this is volume integration of the charge density. Charge density present at uh, each point in the specified region. Now here we can apply Stokes law at the left hand side. So as per Stokes law, this can be written as divergence of G, divergence of G into dV, means this is volume integral. Now, so here we have applied Stokes law, means three-dimensional integral can be converted to two-dimensional integral. Now, at both sides we are talking about the same surface, same region. So here volume integral can be mm, removed from both sides. So what will we will get? It is divergence of current density will be equal to d by dt rho v. This is current continuity equation. What this says, just see, it is divergence of J, current density, divergence of current density. And why what I told you about divergence is something which is flowing outwards, okay, from a region, from a closed surface. Something is coming out, and if we take a divergence, then that will give you some value. So here we are collecting all the current that is coming out of this closed surface, and what it will be equal to? It will be equal to rate of decrease of charges inside the region. इसका मतलब जो चार्ज बाहर जा रही है, करंट जो चार्ज बाहर जा रही है, उतनी ही चार्जेस होंगी जो अंदर जितनी कम हो रही है. ये बहुत ही सिंपल सी चीज है. अगर आप ऑब्वियस पैरामीटर्स में देखें तो कि जितना चार्ज बाहर जा रहा है उतना ही चार्ज अंदर से लॉस हुआ होगा. दिस इज कॉल्ड कॉन्टिन्यूटी इक्वेशन. ओके, कहीं से भी चार्ज लीक आउट नहीं हो रहा है, कहीं से भी चार्जेस हम लोग इंजेक्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं. ओके, सो इस इक्वेशन का आप इस तरीके से सिग्निफाई कर सकते हैं, इस तरीके से इंटरप्रेट कर सकते हैं. where charges will always be continuous in nature. Input current will always be equal to output current. यहीं से हमारा KCL भी आता है. आपने नेटवर्क्स में किरचॉफ्स करंट लॉ देखा होगा, तो वहां पे भी वही चीज बताता है कि किसी एक नोड पे, किसी एक पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट पे इनपुट करंट विल बी ऑलवेज इक्वल टू आउटपुट करंट. ओके, जितनी चार्जेस बाहर जा रहे हैं उतनी ही चार्जेस अंदर भी आ रहे हैं. ओके, सो हियर इट इज ए क्लोज सरफेस. सो जितनी चार्ज बाहर जा रहे हैं वो अंदर से उतने कम हो रहे हैं. ओके, दिस इज व्हाट इट इज टेलिंग यू, दिस इक्वेशन, करंट continuity equation. Now let us discuss Ohm's law. And we will discuss the point form of Ohm's law. Means you know that current is directly proportional to V. This implies that current is equal to V by R. So if you see here, we are talking about uh, means at a macroscopic level. We are talking about at macroscopic level, means we are not talking about at atomic level. हम हर एक इलेक्ट्रॉन की बात नहीं है कर रहे हैं, हम कलेक्शन ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन्स की बात कर रहे हैं जो कि एक पर्टिकुलर कंडक्टर से पास हो रहे हैं बिकॉज ऑफ द पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस अक्रॉस द कंडक्टर. ओके, now this is Ohm's law. Current is directly proportional to the voltage applied across the conductor. Okay, so now let us just see that what happens when we go at electronic level. So whenever you are having a conductor, let us say this is a conductor. So what you are doing, you are having a potential. Let us see, this is plus V and this is at minus V. You are having two ends of the conductor placed at two different voltage level. So from here plus V, here minus V. So we can say that the electric field will be in this direction. The electric field generated by this potential, this potential difference. This must be at some positive charge, this must be at negative charge. So they will create an electric field. Now, will they? They will create an electric field. So this electric field will be experienced by the electron present in the conductor, those free electrons which can move. So a force will be applied on these electrons, force by the field, internal field, that will be equal to charge into the electric field. Okay, and here the charge is what? The electron. So electron is of negative charge, so we can write minus E. E is the charge of the electron, and because of this, let me make it more, expand this. So there is an electric field here and there is an electron. There are many electrons. Okay, many electrons there, and there are also the crystal lattice structure. Means lattice structure means it will be having boundaries. Okay, so these are cubes, unit cells. Okay, so these electron has to pass through the crowd of electrons or other charges, and as well as it will strike the boundaries of this lattice structure. Okay, so therefore velocity of these electrons will decrease. It will not be, usually the electrons used to flow at the speed of light, but here what will happen, here it will be this is crowded, it will just collide with others, and but it will move in forward direction. So if this is electron, sorry, okay, sorry for the interruption, the internet got disconnected. Are you able to listen me? Anybody speak out?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So what is happening? These electrons is means we call it. It is drifting towards the means in the direction of these opposite to the direction of this electric field. Okay, the force is opposite to this electric field, so it will be drifting. and it will be
सर
at
प्रेजेंटेशन नहीं दिख रही है.
presentation ही दिख रही है. Just a minute. अभी दिख रही होगी.
Yes sir.
Okay, so so these electrons is drifting opposite to the direction of electric field. And why opposite in the direction? Because the force applied is negative in nature. You can just see force is negative to the electric field. Okay, so we can say it will not be having a velocity of light, it will be having a small velocity. We can say it Vd. Okay, this is called drift velocity. This term is very important and many times it will come in front of you. So it is drift velocity, and this drift velocity will be directly proportional to the electric field applied. Okay, so the amount of velocity that has been attained by the electron, that is just because of the electric field. So this Vd will be directly proportional to electric field. And also if we make this constant, put a constant here, so it will be, let us say it is mu e. What is mu e? We call it mobility of this electron. मोबिलिटी ऑफ दिस इलेक्ट्रॉन्स, इट मींस कितनी तेजी से वो मूव कर सकते हैं, उनकी इट्स इट्स देयर प्रॉपर्टी, इलेक्ट्रॉन्स प्रॉपर्टी, होल प्रॉपर्टी. लाइक इन सेमीकंडक्टर देयर आर होल्स आर हैवी, so their mobility is low. Electrons are means having lesser mass, so its mobility will be high. So likewise, so we can define Vd as to be minus mu e. Okay, so and from the last class we have got one equation that J is what? It is the movement of charge. What it is? It is the movement of charge. Current density. Current density is what? Vd is the movement, that's drift velocity, and rho e is what? The rho e is what? Rho e is the charge density, the electron charge density. So mind you, we are considering our current as to be only composed of electrons. So if there is semiconductors as well, then there another term can come, that will be the charge density of the holes. Okay, so now we can replace our Vd here with our previous definition. So it will come out to be rho e mu e. Okay, and we can sum up our constant as to be sigma. This sigma is called conductivity. Okay, and the unit is Siemens per meter. Unit is, I don't know it is Siemens or Siemens, but let it be. Okay, and what is one? Let me call it Siemens. One Siemens. It is equal to 1 ampere per volt. Okay, so this equation is called point form of Ohm's law. Okay, we can use this point form of Ohm's law. This is called also microscopic Ohm's law. We can from microscopic Ohm law we can go to macroscopic Ohm's law. Means you can see here the current density is defined for each point in the region. This E is defined for each point of the region. where we are talking, and sigma conductivity of each point. So this is a point form everywhere we are talking. Now if we can just uh, bring that figure back, in which we talked about a cylinder conductor in which the current was injected. Okay, and so here there will be an electric field, and the length of this is L. The potential difference is here we can see V. Here it is 0. Okay, so the potential difference is V. So our electric field can be written as V by L. The potential difference, the potential per meter. E is what? Potential per meter. So if you just review that potential formula, then there you can see. Okay, so E into L was V. So here we can write E is equal to V by L. Now I can be written as J into S, where S is the surface area of this, the section surface area through which the current is passing, and therefore the J will be the current density of that at that surface. Okay, so we can write J is equal to I by S. Very nicely we can write this, and here we can use our point form. So this will be equal to sigma into E. Okay, so J will be equal to I by S. So J is also equal to sigma E as per the derivation which we have done just now. So now we can replace our E with V by L. So in macroscopic law, the potential across the conductor is important, not the electric field. Electric field is inside the region at every point, and V is across the conductor. We are talking just across the conductor. Okay. So from here, what we will get, V will be equal to I L by sigma S. Okay. So sigma we can write as to be this is specific conductivity, and we can write here V is equal to I by R, where R will be equal to what? I by R. R will be equal to sigma S by L. Okay. Oh, sorry, what I did. V is equal to IR now. Okay, so V is equal to IR, and R will be equal to this is the length, the conductivity divided by surface area. This we know. Okay, so this is our macroscopic Ohm's law. V is equal to IR. I is directly proportional to V, where sigma L is the length of the conductor, S is the cross-sectional area of the surface area of the surface of the conductor, and sigma is the specific conductivity of the conductor. Dielectric. So, can anybody tell me what do you understand by dielectric? Anybody? What do you mean by dielectric? Nobody? Just tell me about insulators. Does anybody know about insulators? Yes, Deepak. Your voice is not coming, Deepak.
So
Huh.
dielectric is a very poor conductor of an electric current.
Okay, good. Nice. So dielectric is a poor conductor of electric current. So in means there is some conductive in the dielectric. Let me get it more formal.
सर
हाँ, yes.
डाइलेक्ट्रिक को अगर हम किसी इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड में प्लेस करें तो उनमें से कोई करंट फ्लो नहीं हो मतलब नहीं होता है ना, कोई डाइलेक्ट्रिक होते हैं।
नहीं, कोई भी डाइलेक्ट्रिक देयर आइडियल डाइलेक्ट्रिक नहीं होती है. Okay, so there will be
बट वो
some
पुअर
negative.
कंडक्टर होते हैं।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, that is a poor conductor. I will just let you know this. So if you are talking about a conductor, just see. So in a conductor, if there are some charges, so they cannot remain inside this conductor. They will flow and they will be present uh, at the surface of these conductors. Means conductor has got higher mobility of these charges. So these charges used to flow in this means they are free to flow. But in dielectric, the charges cannot flow. In let us talk about ideal dielectric. So always the charges are captured by this dielectric. Means those dipoles which we talked about. वहाँ पे क्या था, पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव चार्ज स्टैटिक थे. Okay, so these dielectric will be having dipoles, many set of dipoles whose centers will not coincide. उनका center coincide नहीं करेगा, लेकिन dipoles present होंगे. अब ये अगर conductor में होगा, and so in dielectric you will find these small dipoles present in here. Okay, so क्या होता है यहाँ पे, अगर आप इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड देते हो इसके अक्रॉस, जैसे आपने इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड यहाँ पे अगर दिया, तो here these what these dipoles used to do, these dipole used to shift. ये कुछ मतलब पॉजिटिव चार्ज कहाँ जाना चाहेगा, इस तरफ जाना चाहेगा, और नेगेटिव चार्ज इस तरफ जाना चाहेगा. तो एक तरीके से ये डाइपोल्स कुछ देर बाद इस तरीके से हो जाएंगे. ओके, सेंटर विल रिमेन सेम. ये जो सेंटर है इनका सेंटर सेम रहेगा, बट डाइपोल का ओरिएंटेशन थोड़ा सा शिफ्ट हो जाता है. इससे क्या होता है कि हमारे पास कुछ एक्स्ट्रा चार्जेस डाइलेक्ट्रिक्स में प्रेजेंट होते हैं. वी कॉल इट लेट अस से इंड्यूस्ड चार्जेस. ओके, सो जितना चार्ज पहले, जैसे हम कैपेसिटर की बात करें, अगर एक कैपेसिटर ले लेते हैं हम लोग, एक कैपेसिटर ले लेते हैं, ये प्लेट्स हैं, दीज आर कंडक्टिंग प्लेट्स, एंड इन बिटवीन दिस इफ वी टॉक अबाउट डाइलेक्ट्रिक, ठीक है, कुछ डाइलेक्ट्रिक यहाँ पे आ गए. तो यहाँ पे मान लीजिए ये पॉजिटिव चार्ज है, ये पॉजिटिव चार्ज हमने रखा है यहाँ पे, ठीक है. हम वी नो दैट हाउ मच चार्ज ईच प्लेट हैज, Q इज इक्वल टू CV से, Q इज इक्वल टू CV. तो इससे पता चल जाएगा हमारे पास ईच प्लेट पे कितना चार्ज है. ओके, बट these charges will develop an electric field inside this capacitor. कुछ इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड इस कैपेसिटर के अंदर हो जाएगा. अब नाउ व्हेन ही प्लेस दिस डाइलेक्ट्रिक इनसाइड दिस, व्हाट विल हैपन, तो इनके अंदर जो बाउंड चार्जेस होंगे, जो इनके अंदर बाउंड चार्ज मतलब इंड्यूस जो चार्जेस बन रहे हैं, जो डाइपोल के मूवमेंट के कारण बन रहे हैं, वो कुछ यहाँ पे कुछ इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड मतलब यहाँ पे कुछ चार्जेस को स्टोर कर लेते हैं। मतलब मैं तो ये आखिरी में बना रहा हूँ, लेकिन थ्रू आउट रीजन डायलेक्ट्रिक के ये चार्जेस विल बी मीन्स ओरिएंटेड। तो आप यहाँ पे देख सकते हो इसके अंदर खुद का एक इंटरनल इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड भी वो बन जाता है, इंटरनल इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड। ओके, तो ये किसी तरीके से आप कह सकते हैं ये आपके अंदर एक बाउंड चार्जेस पैदा करता है। डाइलेक्ट्रिक का बस इतना ही रोल आप कह सकते हैं कि ये बाउंड चार्जेस है और दीज आर फ्री चार्जेस। ओके, सो द टोटल अमाउंट ऑफ चार्ज कितना होगा अगर इसको पूरा कंसीडर करें तो टोटल चार्ज जो होगा इसमें दैट विल बी बाउंड प्लस फ्री चार्ज। ओके, सो यहाँ पे अगर हम लिखें तो फ्री चार्ज विल बी इक्वल टू द टोटल चार्ज माइनस द बाउंड चार्ज। ओके, तो अगर हम बात करें इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड की, टोटल इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड की, तो आप ये जानते हो कि इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड जो होता है वो टोटल चार्जेस पे डिपेंड करता है। तो इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड अक्रॉस दिस कैपेसिटर विल बी डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द टोटल चार्ज। तो अगर हम लोग इसमें गॉसेस लॉ लगाएं तो वहां पे क्या आ जाएगा, हम लिख सकते हैं ई डॉट डी एस। अगर क्लोज सरफेस पे लिखें तो दिस विल बी इक्वल टू QT द टोटल चार्ज अपॉन एप्सिलॉन नॉट। ओके, अब ये हम टोटल इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड की बात कर रहे हैं। यहाँ पे टोटल इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड जो होगा वो टोटल चार्ज पे डिपेंड होगा, और टोटल चार्ज क्या है, फ्री चार्ज प्लस बाउंड चार्ज। ये हम यहाँ पे गॉसेस लॉ हमने लगाया है यहाँ पे। ओके, सो आप यहाँ पे इस फ्री चार्जेस में जहाँ पे था, सो फ्री चार्ज वाज इक्वल टू द टोटल चार्ज माइनस द बाउंड चार्ज। ओके, सो टोटल चार्ज की जगह पे तो हम लोग ये लिख सकते हैं that through our Gauss's law epsilon naught E dot ds। ओके, ये इस बाउंड चार्ज को क्या लिखें, let what it will be, just see why these bound charges are there. These bound charges are there just because there was some electric field which shifted these dipoles। एक्सटर्नल इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड के कारण जो डाइपोल्स हुए शिफ्ट हुए, तब ये बाउंड चार्ज पैदा हुए। तो इसका मतलब है कि बाउंड चार्ज विल बी डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल टू द इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड ना, बाउंड चार्ज विल बी डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल टू इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड। और यहाँ पे अगर हम देखें तो बाउंड चार्जेस जो हैं वो रिवर्स चार्जेस थे, दैट वाज अपोजिट नेचर टू द फ्री चार्जेस। सो इसको हम लिख सकते हैं नेगेटिव ऑफ susceptibility epsilon E। What is this? This is just the property of dielectric to produce a bound to get induced by charges, bound charges। ठीक है, ये एप्सिलॉन उनका ज्यादा होगा जो डाइलेक्ट्रिक ज्यादा बाउंड चार्जेस पैदा कर सकते हो। ठीक है, but bound charges will always be proportional to the external electric field। So this is a constant which will depend upon the type of material which we have used। So इसको भी अगर हम लोग इस फॉर्मूले में डालें तो यहाँ पे क्या आ जाएगा, फ्री चार्जेस विल बी इक्वल टू E dot ds प्लस Okay, so from here negative sign has been replaced. It was minus QB and QB itself is negative, so it is this thing. Okay, so now we can just add this because electric field is same, and it will be dot ds. So we can just bring it inside. So it will be epsilon naught 1 plus xi e electric field dot ds. Okay, so this term is called epsilon r. This is a constant uh, that tells us the relative permittivity. Okay, so this can be written as epsilon naught epsilon r e dot ds. Okay, and epsilon naught epsilon r can be could be written as epsilon. So what is this now? Just see. This is the this includes the property of medium to develop dipoles. ओके, सो उन डायलेक्ट्रिक्स की परमिटिविटी ज़्यादा होगी जिनमें डाइपोल्स अच्छे से डेवलप हो सकते हैं. ओके, तो जब भी उनके अक्रॉस इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड लगाया जाएगा तो उनमें हायर अमाउंट ऑफ शिफ्ट होगा, डाइपोल्स का शिफ्ट जो होगा वो ज़्यादा होगा. सो जो भी डाइलेक्ट्रिक में ज़्यादा बाउंड चार्जेस ज़्यादा होंगे उसकी परमिटिविटी भी ज़्यादा होगी. सो दिस इज द प्रॉपर्टी of medium to develop bound charges to develop bound charges or induced charges under an external field. अब एप्सिलॉन ई को हम क्या लिख सकते हैं? एप्सिलॉन ई कैन बी रिटन एज डी dot ds. Now see here, a very interesting part need to be observed here. This d is only depending upon the free charges. It doesn't depend upon the bound charges. Just concentrate. Your electric field that is present in that capacitor is depending upon the total charge as well as the bound charges. So its electric field will depend upon the property of the dielectric कि कितना वो बाउंड चार्ज पैदा कर सकता है, उसी के हिसाब से आपकी इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड विल बी देयर. बट सी हियर दिस डी वेक्टर, this flux density vector only depends upon the free charges. Free charges was what? Which was present on each plate of these capacitors. जो हमें पहले से पता है, हमने उसको वहां पे डाला है, तो हमें हमेशा ये चीज पता रहती है कि कितना चार्ज हमें हमारे पास फ्री है, तो इससे हम डी निकाल सकते हैं. Okay, so D only depends on the known charges that we put in the system. Okay, and electric field that depends upon the total charge, and therefore E depends upon the permittivity of the dielectric material. So E is equal to D upon epsilon. Okay, this is very important uh, uh, mm, uh, very important differentiation between these two vectors, electric field and flux density. Okay, so this is a field vector. This means these two are uh, uh, comes in different category of these vectors. So this is called, this comes in field category, field vector category, and this D comes in density category, field density category, field density vectors. See, electric fields are contains the physical properties. It consists of physical properties like it can exert forces and all. But D is devoid of any physical characteristic. D is simply the density of flux. It is not related with the force. Okay, D is only related to the charges that we are placing in the system, the free charges that we are placing in the system, जो हमें known होगा. Okay, that's why Gauss's law works so well. Okay, now let us talk about the boundary condition of perfect dielectrics. Boundary condition in perfect. So what is this? Uh, like you have seen that when light ray comes from a higher refractive index to lower refractive index, when the medium's refractive index changes, then what happens? These light rays used to diverge from their path. जैसे लाइट रे अगर इस तरीके से है, यहाँ का N1 है रिफ्रैक्टिव इंडेक्स, यहाँ पे N2 है रिफ्रैक्टिव इंडेक्स, then as per Snell's law, N1 upon N2 is equal to sin theta 2 upon sin theta 1, where this is theta 1. So if N1 is higher than N2, so theta 2 will be higher than theta 1. So it will diverge. Okay, so here N1 is greater than N2. This was Snell's law. You have studied this in your 12th. So light rays used to diverge from their path when they reach at the boundary of two mediums which are having different refractive index. Same is also with electric field as well. Okay, electric fields also used to change their path when they reach at the boundary of dielectric. So let us say that here is a dielectric. Okay, so the permittivity of above dielectric is epsilon 1 and the permittivity of lower is epsilon 2. Okay, so what we will do, we will just uh, just assume that there is some um, tangential electric field here in the medium 2, and there is some normal electric field here. Okay, so let me draw this at a single point. So there is one electric field like this. So the electric field is like this. Okay, this is our electric field. So this electric field will be having a tangential component and one normal component. So let us say this is ET2, this is EN2. Okay, fine. Similarly, there will be some electric field in this medium T1, and there will be some normal component of this electric field. Now, fine, no? So this electric field is slanting, so it will be having some tangential and normal component. And similarly, when it passes through this other permittivity in other medium, then what happens? Again, the electric field will have some tangential component and normal component. Just we need to observe that how much these tangential components are related to each other and how this normal component is related to each other. I will ask you just to apply two things. So let us say that this is uh, a loop A, B, C, D, where length of AD and BC is very small. Okay, in comparison to AB and DC. So here we can see if let us say this is ET1. Here the tangential electric field tangential component is ET1, and here it is ET2. Okay, so what we will do, we will calculate this thing. ABCD E dot DL. Okay, DL is what? DL goes from AB, B to C, C to D, D to A. So what this will give? Just see. So from A to B, it will be ET1 as it is into the length L, the length of AB. Then what it will be? So E at BC. Okay, and length is of BC. Then ET2 into minus L because so sorry, this will be plus L and this electric field will be minus. Why this is minus? Because ET2 is from D to C, and if we are completing the loop, we will move from A to B, A to B, B to C, and C to D. So L vector is in from C to D, and ET2 vector is from D to C. So that's why the minus sign came. And then we can add here the last component EAB LAD, and this should be equal to what? This should be equal to, just see, we are bringing a charge, we are taking a charge from A, then to B, then to C, then to D, then to A. So all the universe, we are rotating the charge from all the universe and coming back to the initial point. So what is the potential difference? This is what this E dot dl is what? The potential difference between the point of start and the final point, and point of start and the final point are same, so it will be equal to 0. Okay, now in this equation, just see this part, second part, LBC. I have told that the length of BC and AD is very small, so this will go on to be equal to 0. So this will be equal to 0, and EAB LA will also be equal to 0. Okay, so what will be remaining? ET1 into L will be equal to ET2 into L. So ET1 will be equal to ET2. Okay, fine. This is the first conclusion. The relation between the tangential component of this electric field. Okay, so what this will imply? So Et1 we can write is to be dt1 epsilon 1 now, and Et2 we can write as to be dt2 epsilon 2. Okay, so from here we can write dt1 by dt2 is equal to epsilon 2 by epsilon 1. I think there's a mistake here. So E is equal to epsilon d, I think. Yes, epsilon d. E is epsilon d. So we need to change this, I think. So okay. Okay. So we will replace this uh, d upon epsilon, d upon epsilon, d upon epsilon. Okay, because in E formula, you see that E is inversely proportional to epsilon. Okay, so if sometime if you just forget what is the formula, so always see that D is independent of E epsilon. D does not depend upon the permittivity of the medium, and E is inversely proportional to the permittivity of the medium. So E will be D by epsilon. E can only be D by epsilon. So here we can write again. So dt1 by epsilon 1 is equal to dt2 upon epsilon 2. Okay. So now, in our dielectric medium, uh, um, on the boundary, we have talked about the tangential component of the electric field, but we haven't talked about the normal component of electric field. So for normal component, we can make a Gaussian surface. So as we are treating only the normal component, so let us say that this is d vector, or let us say this is d vector, and this is another d. So this is d2 and this is d1. Okay, so now if we apply the Gaussian surface formula, matlab Gaussian law, then what does Gaussian law says that the closed surface d dot ds will be equal to the charge enclosed. So let us say delta qs is the charge enclosed. Uh, delta qs is the charge enclosed. Then we are not treating the tangential component. We are only taking the normal components. So here we can write. So let us say d. This has to be a normal component. These are normal components. So d n1 into delta s. Okay, outward. Now see the other side, d n2 side. It is inward, so a negative sign will come. Okay, uh, at the top surface, it is outwards, and at the bottom surface it is inwards. That's why the negative sign is there. So delta s is the surface area of this the curved surface, and there is no tangential component, so we are not taking the curved surface. So this will be equal to qs, delta qs. So we can say dn1 minus dn2 will be equal to qs upon delta s, which will be the rho s. Okay, so this is the charge density at the surface. Where is the surface? Surface is this part. Okay, the charge enclosed by the uh, by this cylinder. The charge enclosed by this cylinder will be the whole charge itself. No, it will be all the charges present inside this. So rho s is the charge density inside that region. Okay, so means as per previous discussion, we know that these D only depend upon the free charges that we place on the system, but dielectrics are only having the bound charges. It can only have the bound charges. This conductor used to have the charges on its surface. These dielectric do not have any free charges. It always have induced charges. So in here, rho s should be zero. Rho s should be zero. There is no free charge inside. So that's why dn1 should be equal to dn2. Okay, so fine. If we now convert this into our electric field equation, so what it will be? So uh, so there is E is inversely proportional to epsilon. So if we multiply this by epsilon, then only uh, a term that is independent of epsilon will come. So epsilon E is there, and here we say epsilon to E and 2. So we can see that this D vector is continuous in normal direction. Now, D vector in different permittivity is continuous in normal direction. Whatever D is in this medium, second medium, the same D is in first medium, the normal component. I am talking about just about normal component. And you have seen that the tangential component of electric fields are continuous. Means whatever the electric field is in this medium, the same electric field, tangential component of electric field is in this medium. So tangential electric field is always continuous in both medium, and the normal component of D vector, D field is continuous across the medium. Okay. So fine. So now we can just relate this. So if this is two vectors, so let us say this is one vector electric field E2 D2 electric field and flux vector of density vector, and then this is E1 and D1. So there will be dn1 and en1. So dt1 et1. Similarly here dn2 en2 and dt2 and et2. Okay, and this is your theta 2, and this is theta 1. So if you write dn1, so dn1 is what? Dn1 is d1 cos theta 1. dn2 is what? It is also d2 cos theta 2. What is d1? It is d1 sin theta 1. Just we are breaking the components. we are writing the components in terms of the vector field vector itself, sin theta 2. Now we say that dn1 is equal to dn2. Okay, so we will equalize these two things. So what it will become? It will become d1 upon d2 will be equal to cos theta 2 upon, this is just a simple mathematics, so do not worry about this. So we have got one thing, d1 upon d2 is cos theta 2 upon cos theta 1, and then we have got the e t1 is equal to e t2. From here dt1 epsilon 1, uh, again we are mistaking now, et1 will be equal to dt1 into upon epsilon. This will be upon epsilon because d is independent. I always get confused and then go to the basics, so you can also use this. So this will be this thing, so dt2 upon epsilon. Okay, fine. Now just simplify this, so you will get epsilon 2 d1 sine theta 1 is equal to epsilon 1 d2 sine theta 2. Okay, so this will give you what, d1 upon d2 or dt1 upon dt2 will be equal to epsilon 1 sine theta 2 upon epsilon 2 sine theta 1. Now we can uh, divide these two. Oh sorry, this will be not dt1, this is the magnitude of the vector only. So you can just see here, so dt1 is in terms of d1 and dt2 is terms of d2, so here only d1 and d2 will come. So now we can divide this equation, we can write it this part as a and this part as b. So if we do a by b, write a by b, then this will give you the right side will be cancelled out, so it will be epsilon 1 sin theta 2 by cos theta 2 upon epsilon 2 sin theta 1 divided by cos theta 1, and here the left hand side will be equal to 1 because there is d1 by d2. So this will give you tan theta 1 by tan theta 2 is equal to epsilon 1 upon epsilon 2. Okay, so this is your final condition. So larger will be the theta in the medium where the permittivity is higher. Okay, so wherever the permittivity is high, there the theta will diverge. So if here it is epsilon 1 and here it is epsilon 2, epsilon 1 is higher, then what will happen, the electric field will be having a larger angle here, theta 1, and it will be closer to this normal. Okay, so this will be electric fields. Fine. So this is how the electric field will diverge its path when you talk at a boundary of two dielectrics. Okay, so enough for today. We will meet in the next lecture, and I will try to have 3 lectures per week in coming weeks because we have missed 5 lectures. So we have to meet on Saturday as well. So on Saturday an extra lecture will be conducted. It is not extra lecture, it is just compensation of previous lectures. So for 5 weeks I will take 3 lectures per week. Okay, So if there is any doubt, you can just post it in the comment box. This is already 1 hour 5 minutes class. Okay, if there is none, we can close this session, and recordings will be posted, so you can always see the recordings and then ask your questions afterwards in the classroom or on the YouTube channel. Okay, thank you for now. Thank you.